I'll start at the beginning of the show here. So, opens up with the announcement that tonight Brock Lesnar's cashing in, and Charlie's waiting for him to arrive, and they go to Michael Cole, and he says, "It's not a question of when." He stops, and he says, "That's not a question of where, because it will be tonight. It's a question of when, because it'll be sometime tonight as well."
He messed up on that.
Dude, this was so bad, and the company came off so desperate.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing, too. Well, I think that they've really come off desperate the last couple of weeks in a lot of ways. You know, the other thing, too, is Charlotte wrestles Lacey Evans. And the finish of the match is Becky Lynch attacks Charlotte. And then Corey Graves says that Lacey Evans won by DQ because Becky Lynch interfered and she cost Charlotte the match. But if she attacked Charlotte, shouldn't Lacey Evans be the one who's DQ'd for the outside interference?
This was the absolute least of our problems with that match.
Well, yeah, no, but I just thought, like, what? So he said that, and I thought, well, obviously they're going to correct him because what he just said made absolutely no sense, and nobody even corrected him. I guess they probably just figured this is a lost cause.
So Roman Reigns comes out, stands there, Shane McMahon comes out, and they build up the match on Friday. Shane promises to leap from one side of the ring to the other, submit him for the first time in his career. He's not going to break the triangle. Roman's eyes will bulge out of his head. Shane's gasping for breath during this promo. Roman says, if you try to powerbomb me, or if you try to triangle me, I'll pick your ass up and powerbomb you through the ring. You don't stand a chance. You have 2 left feet, which in fact he does. And I'm going to beat you, and then I will beat up Drew in 2 weeks at Stomping Grounds. Have we ever heard of Stomping Grounds before that reference right there? I don't think they've ever mentioned it.
I think there's been quick mentions on TV. But yeah, because we got another pay-per-view 2 weeks later in Tacoma.
Drew comes out, repeats everything Shane said, but says that's the future. What about right now? We don't need our partners. We'll take out Roman right now. The Revival jumps Roman, and we have a match. So it is the Usos and Roman Reigns versus the Revival and Drew McIntyre. And
this was a good match.
This match, Dave, was probably pretty good.
It was good.
We had 2 commercial breaks.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We had incessant chin locks when the show was on the air. Yeah, we had, I swear to God, a hot tag during the commercial break. Are they messing with me now? Like, first we get the heat during the break. Now we got a hot tag during the break.
How do you have the hot tag during the break?
And they want to win an Emmy?
Well, can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine.
Can you imagine the mindset? I'll tell you what, if they get nominated for this, probably one of the worst television wrestling shows I've ever seen, that'd be something. But yeah, they had 8 commercial minutes in the first 13, which is not, that's the second straight week they've done that for a match. And it's like, yeah, how do you get into a match when you do? I mean, I know that you can't complain about commercials. That's one of the things, and here I am. But one of my rules of thumb is when you complain about commercials, then you don't get it but still, there's
I do get it. It's okay to have commercials.
But
they put the commercials in the absolute worst possible times.
Well, they'll always make it the worst times. But the thing is, they should if they're going to do a match, it's like 15 minutes, and you got to take commercials. What you should do is you should do the ring introductions, get everyone in the ring, and then take the commercial break. So then you're not missing anything. And then you start the match. So then you can go 7 or 8 minutes, and you can do the 1 commercial break because the match is going to go long, but you don't need to do 2. Or if you do them, you can space them out more or something. But yeah, saying that these guys, the Usos are really good, the Revival's really good, Roman Reigns and Drew are good. I mean, this is a good match.
All I know is I'm watching Nitro in the year 2000, and these morons can figure out where to put commercials. So, a commercial during the hot tag is an inexcusable offense, and I will not let them live that down. I agree. You have to be able, if you're building up something like that, for that, you can't be in a commercial break when you pay that off with a hot tag. You're right, that is just terrible planning. So Jay got a blind tag, goes up top, Shane crotches him, Reigns goes after Shane, McIntyre lays him out, the heels hit a shatter machine on Jimmy outside, and then McIntyre hit Jay with the Claymore and got the pin. They did the heavy heat segment where they gave Roman the shatter machine, Drew gave him another Claymore, Shane speared him for good measure, and Shane just purple and profusely sweating after this one spot. And he's supposed to be wrestling on Friday.
It's going to be really scary. It's going to be really interesting on Friday. One thing is like, after that deal where they were trying to humiliate, they go back and forth. They're like schizophrenic. First, the Revival wants to quit. So the first thing they do is, we don't want you to quit. We're going to put the tag team titles on you. Okay, so now will you sign for 5 years? No, they don't want to sign. All right, so now we're going to humiliate you. We're going to treat you like dirt. That, they still didn't sign. So now they're back to, they made them look really good. Maybe, who knows? But, I'm sure they don't want to lose them. And I think that's the key. But it is surprising because a lot of the guys who want out are being either buried or not used. But these guys, they're going from the depths to the penthouse. And who knows every week which way they're going at, or the mentality when it comes to those guys. But there you go.
So Miz comes out. He calls out Seth. Says Brock is cashing in tonight. What's going through your mind? Seth says, well, you're assuming he's going to show up. You're assuming Paul is telling the truth, but that's never happened before. I'll believe it when I see it.
He was right.
Yeah.
Paul didn't tell the truth.
Seth says, if he cashes in, I'll be relieved. I've got to defend this belt against Baron Corbin on Friday. And by the way, Corbin's name as the number one contender got zero reaction. And he says, I got to focus on Corbin if I'm going to be a fighting champion. And then Brock's vehicle arrived, and Paul says, let's cash in. They start walking towards the ring. Brock stops at the entrance, tells Paul to come with him, and they go elsewhere. That is the entire segment. I know their idea is that Corbin is over, but he mentioned Corbin's name as number one contender, and it was just a deathly dead reaction.
He's not over. He's not over at all. He's over in that, like, there's ways you can get people booed, but that's not the boos that mean anything. He's like boring. That's the deal. He's just boring.
We have Lars Sullivan and the Lucha House Party having a confrontation, which is not a match, despite everyone getting a ring entrance for this confrontation. He beats them all up. They drop kick him outside. He leaves. That's the segment.
They just cut away. He didn't even leave. He was just standing there, and then they cut away. It's like, how does the segment end? And I figured he was going to come back and start killing him, but I guess maybe the idea.
Then we have no match.
Yeah, the idea is that he'll kill him on Friday, I guess. So we have to wait. We have to wait to see this.
We have to wait to see Lars Sullivan kill the Lucha House Party. Yes.
Well, because it's his first scheduled main roster match.
Well, I hope they give him his damn entrance back.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
The Iconics are laughing at Nikki Cross backstage, and Alexa shows up, makes a bloomin' onion joke. Payne says, I got a match with Nikki later. This was horrific. And then Alexa offered to get Nikki a coffee, and she's acting all sad and woe is me. And Nikki says, listen, you've only been kind to me, so we're friends. And Alexa says, well, I'll be in your corner tonight. Becky comes out for a promo.
Okay, so didn't Alexa like befriend Nikki Cross before, and then it was already clear on that very show that she was completely fake and on all that?
Yeah.
So now we're doing the same angle like we didn't see the angle the first time.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the guy who wrote it forgot about it.
The guy who, yeah, or maybe he liked it so much that he wanted to do it again.
So out comes Becky and talks about how she's been out 63 days, done all these things, won the main event of WrestleMania.
She hasn't been home.
Never been more content, but content fighters get hurt, or they get passed over, they get beaten. She says, when Lacey helped Charlotte beat me, it woke up something in me that needed waking. She says, when I'm pissed off, there isn't a woman in this business that can keep me down. I'm going to take out Lacey. Lacey comes out, says, I did everyone a favor, Money in the Bank. So Becky challenges her to a fight, and Lacey says, I promise, when I get my hands on you, you'll be Becky No Belts. So the guy in charge apparently forgot they already wrestled, and Becky won. Charlotte came out, they bicker back and forth. Charlotte says, I'm halfway to beating my dad's record. Lacey says I'm the new face of WWE. And then, I think I don't know what happened here, She walked over to her, and Charlotte fell down. The announcers claimed she punched her, but there's no way she punched her.
She was supposed to punch her, but then it was like, if she punched her, she should have sold it more, but she didn't punch her. But they said she punched her. I watched that thing back on replay trying to find a punch, which I didn't find.
There was no punch. They just kind of fell into each other.
Well, this was the apropos for the entire segment, because from this point on, from the punch that wasn't there that Charlotte sold, the announcers talked about, but she didn't sell enough, then it turned into a match. And
Charlotte versus Lacey. My God, this match was horrific.
I don't know what was. I'm still trying to find out, like, who told them go out there and make it look like it's real. And
well, you know, when you have two people that have done it when it's real, then you could tell them to go out there and make it look real. When you have two women who have no background in this, you go out there and you say, make it look real. It was horrible. They're grabbing each other, and they're falling down, and they're rolling around.
It was okay. It got worse when they started doing the pro wrestling, though. I think
it did, but this first part was horrible. There's no defending the first part. So then they actually start wrestling, and by the way, I want to mention something here. They start doing this weird shoot style thing, or whatever you want to call it. They go to a commercial break. When they return, they're still doing it. So conceivably, for 4 straight minutes when we weren't watching, they kept doing this.
And that's tiring, too, which doesn't help.
So they come back.
That style is really tiring to do.
The fans chant, "We want Becky." Charlotte proceeds to miss a kick by a mile. Lacey falls down. Lacey misses a leg sweep by a mile. Charlotte falls down. Lacey gets completely lost and time stands still. Charlotte goes for a figure four. Lacey's supposed to boot her, but she doesn't. They run into each other with a double high cross, and finally...
that was a clumsy-looking double, spot, too. It was like this just everything in this match just didn't work. It was it was
horrible.
And
then Becky yanks Charlotte out of the ring for the DQ, not a moment too soon. Lays out Lacey with the manhandle slam. One of the worst matches I have seen in years. Horrible.
Yeah, it was bad. It was pretty bad. It was worse than the Nikki Cross match.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio came out, had his arm in a sling, and he's doing this speech about how his son is training. He wants to do what's right as a man and as a champion. Joe comes out. He says, "I heard the word champion, thought it was my cue. I'm not here to interrupt, but I have an addendum, and that is to not ruin this moment by telling the people a lie. The fact is, you're giving up this belt not because of an injury, but because you never beat me. My shoulders never touched the mat." And Rey says, "Listen, I'm not here trying to fool anybody. I want to do this right, so shut up and let me talk. I've won titles my whole career through pain and injuries. I was man enough to do that. I'm man enough to do this. Due to my current shoulder injury, I'm here to relinquish my U.S. title to Samoa Joe." He lays the belt down.
Isn't that like ridiculous? I mean, it's like, okay, if he has to vacate the title, this is like the perfect opportunity to do a tournament or something. You just hand the belt to that makes no sense in the world.
Not only that, it's like, okay, so if you are going to admit that Joe's shoulder wasn't down, okay, fine. You're a babyface. You're relinquishing the title because in real life, fair is fair. You didn't actually pin this guy.
But he never said that. He said
no. That's not the story. The story is because he's hurt. Which, right, if he's hurt, he should be vacating, and it should go up in a tournament or whatever.
Of course, it should. It should be. Or if worse comes to worse, Ray would pick a guy and you do a one match. Throw whoever, Ricochet or whoever you're going to do the program with Joe in, and maybe not the guy you're going to do the program with Joe in, but a guy who Joe can beat. You only got all these guys on the roster. At least have him win a match. I mean, it makes the title look like a complete joke. You're the champion, even though you lost your last match in a minute, and it's ridiculous.
So he lays the belt down and vows to be back, and he goes to leave. Joe grabs him, chokes him out, and then Joe celebrates with the title.
Yeah, Ray looked rough.
Yeah.
You forget, when you have a separated shoulder, you can't do any lifting, and Ray looked really, he looked like a guy who hasn't been lifting, which he hasn't. I'm sure he hasn't been. Hopefully hopefully it's not too bad. I hope he doesn't need surgery. But I don't know what the situation is. I have not found out whether he's going to need surgery or not. But obviously, if he's going to be back in like 3 weeks, he should have never vacated the title. So that probably means, I would say logically, it means he's going to be out for several months. But when it comes to this and logic, you're going to be wrong a lot more than right. So who knows how long he's going to be out. But logically, he should be out several months if he's going to vacate the title.
Strowman came out for an arm wrestling contest with Lashley, and it was fine.
I thought it was good. I mean, it's every arm wrestling match sort of has to be like this. It's got to be the one guy's the heel, and he stalls and he stalls and he stalls and all this. And then when they got to the arm wrestling part of it, they went back and forth and in a exciting, as exciting and believable as an arm wrestling gig is going to be. And then at the end, in every arm wrestling thing, the heel has to get heat at the end. So, especially to build up the match. So from a basic standpoint, it was what it should have been.
First, Lashley slapped him, and then their hands slipped, and finally they did the match. The people were into it, and Lashley lost, and he was a poor sport, and he threw chalk in the eyes of Strowman, laid him out with his own power slam, and nothing offensive. A fine segment to build up a match on Friday.
Yeah, but that match on Friday?
That better be a quick match.
Match on Friday might... that ain't the only one. Look at that card.
Yeah.
I mean, Undertaker and Goldberg better be quick. Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns better be quick. Triple H and Randy Orton will not be quick, but it better be quick.
We had clips of Truth losing and regaining the 24/7 title on the golf course. They may as well call it the schoolboy title, because I believe every single title change that has ever happened in the history of this title has been via schoolboy. Could be wrong. Carmella's looking for Truth backstage. EC3 and Drake Maverick are chasing.
EC3 seemed like so happy to be there.
That seems to be his gimmick now, that he's miserable because no one's doing anything with him, which is his real life.
Oh, my God. Drake Maverick's like let's run and find him, and he's just like not even caring. He doesn't even care about the championship.
We had Nikki Cross versus Peyton. Multiple arrest holds, no heat. Crowd doesn't care about Nikki's comeback. She misses a crossbody. Somebody brings coffee to Alexa. Peyton kicks it out of her hand. Billy pushes Alexa into the coffee. Alexa's wearing white jeans, so now there's coffee all over her butt. Peyton's distracted. Nikki pins her with a neck breaker. Alexa's out there outside. She's sitting out there like, who is she? Who is she?
She's Alexa Bliss.
Nah, there's someone out there that something would happen and they would sit out there and they would it was Bully Ray when he used to put the women through the table. Just sits there with the wide eyes and getting ready to snap. And
she looks nothing like Bully Ray.
Finally,
like the farthest, I would say she's the farthest thing from Bully Ray that I know.
Alexa snaps, hits the ring, beats up both of the women, and her and Nikki celebrate together. Iconics are literally the worst champions in the history of WWE. Ever.
I don't know about that, but...
Dude, who's worse? They've won one match against a jobber team. They've lost every other single match they've ever had together as a team since winning the titles 2 months ago.
You're talking about booking?
Even Rey Mysterio used to win very occasionally when he was champion.
Yeah, didn't they I'm trying to think. Didn't they there's somebody that they put a belt on that they just beat to death every week. Even worse than these guys. But
that's impossible. It could be worse than these guys. They've not won any matches.
It's been bad. And nothing leads to a title match either.
No, they just lose every week and it leads to nothing.
Yeah.
Although this I do expect to lead to Alexa and Nikki versus the Iconics.
What, and then is Alexa going to turn on her again?
May as well.
Yeah. Whatever.
Or they can win. I mean, that's possible.
Win the belts?
Yeah. I mean, fuck, it can't be worse than this.
I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sasha Banks going home is looking like, I don't know. It's like they take the belts off them, and then for what reason? It's like, so the Iconics can do Iconic and make that pose. I mean,
they
like,
could have done that without the belts.
Exactly. They could do that. They could just come out there and just do their simultaneous promos against anyone, not have the belts involved at all. It doesn't matter. But, and not, you know, and the other thing too is it's like they don't have good matches either.
No.
It's like
horrible.
It's like like I'm trying to think. Like they have something for sure, but it's all wrong right now. Everything about it's all wrong.
All right, so then we had the Brock segment. Seth comes out, wants him to cash in. No Brock. Corbin comes out instead. And Seth says, you don't stand a chance. You're going to have to pry this from my cold, dead hands. Corbin is just the worst championship contender. They brawl. Nobody cares. They barely pop when Seth hits a dive. Finally, Brock's music hits. Corbin lays out Seth with the end of days. Brock comes out, hits a low blow, destroys Seth. Chair shots. Paul is screaming to cash in. Brock says not now. Hits an F5 outside the ring, suplexes him all over the place. Paul demands he cash in, and finally Brock looks over the ropes and he just says, Friday. And they go to leave, and the fans are booing like crazy. So Brock goes back. He hits a couple briefcase shots, another chair shot, leaves again. 3 straight weeks now. I have no sympathy for any fan that expected to cash in. Zero sympathy.
It's bad, though. It's
Bringing
bad.
a stretcher, put Seth in a neck brace, stretcher him off, loaded in an ambulance, and there's Becky Lynch, making sure that he's okay.
Well, that was a smart touch. I like that.
I mean, it was a fine segment. Brock was great. I mean, Seth did a good job. The Corbin thing is a mess.
It's not a fine segment because you just can't do this another week. It just, I mean, like
they couldn't do this last week. We're far beyond that.
Everyone's personal role was very good. So in that sense, and it was well done, but booking wise, horrendous, freaking horrendous. You can't be promising this stuff week in and week out and do this because you're just, especially now when you're losing audience, it's like this honest to God, I say, like, I never say anything's as bad as WCW because nothing is, but this is like WCW. This whole last 3 weeks is just like WCW, having no regard for your audience and just being completely out of touch with your audience.
So next up, we have the Firefly Funhouse. This one was great. It's the Exercise Edition. We now have a Vince McMahon devil puppet, which is absolutely incredible. A pig puppet, Huskus, an homage to Husky Harris, I presume.
Well, so the idea is that the pig puppet is all the things that Bray did wrong because he didn't train, and now he's training, and all the Husky Harris stuff, all the mistakes that he made. But now he's learned from all of his mistakes, and that's the deal.
That's right. And he danced. There was a lot of dancing by Bray Wyatt and the Vince McMahon puppet. This was the best one yet, and it was the best thing on this show. I watched it twice. I loved it.
Yeah, it was very entertaining. Really, really fun stuff. It felt, honestly, like it should be on somebody else's wrestling show and not this one.
Uncle Paul came out. Fans chanted NXT, says, I'm here to talk about Randy Orton. Orton comes out. Hunter says, listen, everybody knows why we do these things, trying to drum up interest.
Oh, God.
Maybe fight.
I got to tell you, like, this is like, okay, this is like a segment of Being the Elite. You know what I mean? Like where you do that insider spoof for your insider fans. They're putting this on their regular show. It's like, it's essentially, you're making fun of the idea of doing promos. And they're out there doing this promo to build up this match while they're both laughing because they're trying to tell you how fake and preposterous wrestling promos are. It's like, what the fuck? On your own television show. This is also like WCW, by the way.
So he goes to leave, and Randy says, I'm not Batista, I'm a legend killer. I'll gladly beat you Friday, put another notch on my belt. Hunter says, well, I said you'd become a diamond in this business. You're one of the best ever. But a lot of people have tried to take me down, and I'm still here. And you're not the one who's going to do it. He leaves, and Orton goes, can you promise me something? That this Friday, before you step in the ring with me, you'll retrieve your balls from Stephanie's purse? Everyone goes, ah! Hunter laughs, gets in the ring, says, I'll do that. They're big and they're a burden. You wouldn't know because you've never had any. I'll see you in Jeddah. So actually, he revealed where the show's at, so that's news, I guess.
Well, no. They say Jeddah all the time. They just never say Saudi Arabia.
I see. Throws the belts at him.
Well, he said that he's going to put his balls in the overhead compartment on the airplane, right? If it would fit.
He did, if they'd fit in the carry-on.
If they fit in the, yeah. So, I mean, this was just...
A totally generic, nothing happening promo to build up a match
No. This was anything but generic. It was the opposite of generic. This was two guys who are out there, doing a spoof on a wrestling promo because they're both laughing, like the idea that doing
because it was so generic. It's like you're gonna make you have no balls. Oh, it was blah, blah, blah.
It was the opposite of generic. Generic means you just do standard thing. This was the opposite.
That's what this was. There was nothing to it.
No, they were making fun of it. They're out there. A generic promo does not have Randy Orton laughing at lines like these are our jokes to tell, and they're both laughing at their jokes.
Yeah, they're joking about their balls. They don't even have an issue between them.
Well, they did 15 years ago.
Well, they don't have one now, so it was a generic promo that you have no balls, I'll see you on Friday.
It was the opposite of a generic promo. It's like the most ungeneric promo I've probably seen on Raw in God knows how long. Braun Strowman and Braun Strowman does generic promos. It's exactly what you predict. You know what I mean? Everything. This is like two guys. I couldn't believe like Randy Orton's just laughing while he's giving the line, and Triple H is laughing like, oh, it's basically two guys out there going like, we're really good friends doing fake wrestling promos with each other, laughing at these lines about our balls. Like it's like, I mean, fine, well and good, but my God. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Corbin did a boring promo, and then we had the Cesaro Ricochet match, which was a good match.
This was a fun match, yeah.
Without a lot of heat, and teasing it's going to be a 10-year feud. And the finish was actually screwed up, but they saved it. They were going for a multi-rotation tilt-a-whirl, and Cesaro actually lost him. But since it was the finish, Ricochet just turned into a cradle and pinned him. And Cesaro jumped him afterwards, laid him out. Goes for some reason to get a table from under the ring. No explanation as to why. And on the table...
He brought out a ladder and then threw it back.
The truth is on the table is the point of all of this.
But he got a ladder first, so I think that there's going to build to a TLC match between the two of them at some point. I mean, that was definitely the way I got it. But then he pulls out a table, and R-Truth's hanging on the table.
All the geeks go after Truth, and Cedric wipes him out. Drew Maverick gets in the ring. Carmella super kicks him.
Okay, so did you notice that the spot with Carmella and Drake Maverick was the exact spot that the Young Bucks did with Cody's buddy, with the papers flying, like exact from the show last week? Like the show right at the beginning where this guy's playing security. I mean, he throws the papers exactly. I mean, Jesus Christ. I would never copy the other guy's, comedy spot that they just did the week before.
This, by the way, is not turning around the third hour. Just want you to know that.
No, well, they were hoping that Undertaker will save the third hour, so we'll see.
Well, the Undertaker comes out with 2 minutes left, so I'm not sure that's saving the third hour. And he cut an Undertaker promo and says, this Friday, Goldberg's going to get the answers to all these questions when I stand across the ring from him. I don't want you to be the smiling family man. I want the unstoppable, mythical Goldberg. And if you do not bring that, our first match will be your last. I will claim your soul for all eternity. Goldberg, you're next. And the moment he says the word next, show's off the air out of time.
Yeah, they were clearly running late, and he had a rush to get out to the line.
It's funny because they were running late, and he was in no hurry. He just was standing there forever. Calmly cut his promo, show, they went here, off the air, 2 weeks away from the Stomping Grounds show, which apparently is not doing well. I know that's hard to believe.
It's not selling. Well, most of their shows, I mean, as far as the pay-per-views go, I mean, they sold out the last one. I mean, the Saudi show, doesn't really count, but there's a lot of people at the show, but, was it Hartford where they had the last show? The Money in the Bank sold out. So I mean, they have not been hurting when it comes to pay-per-views, but this one.
No, but my point is, this card is terrible.
The card's weak. Yeah. It's
Kofi Dolph again in a cage. Like, how could you want to see that? Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins again. How could you want to see that?
Well, the big thing they're trying to sell is like who the guest referee is going to be.
So they want you to. So the big hook is.
Well, they'll announce who
is the dude going to be screwed?
Right. Yeah. That's because I don't think anyone believes that Corbin can beat him. So
their goal is to convince you that Corbin might win the title. That's their plan, to convince you that Corbin could win the title. The
drama of the fact that Corbin could get that the title could change hands because of a heel referee. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a terrible idea. And Becky Lacey again.
Yeah.
Which they finally acknowledged on television. We have just seen, and it was a submission finish.
Yeah. But they really put Lacey over as big as they could tonight. So,
did you notice, by the way, on the show that Michael Cole, in fact, alerted us that they had just come back from Saudi Arabia? So I guess it's okay to say afterwards, just not before they go there. Or he screwed up and got yelled at. I'm not sure which.
I don't think that there's that much now that they've gone and they're on their way back. I mean, what does it matter now? If you say it now, what does it? You know what I'm saying? It's like no one's going to boo it. You're not going to plug the. You know what I mean? The whatever heat there's going to be is already over. They already did the show, so it's not. I mean, there's nothing. As far as saying that. Saying where they went, and everybody was jet lagged, so that didn't help much either. That was a long ass trip for, and coming back all the way to the West Coast. They did get a day off. They did get Saturday off, but still, it's a long trip. And nobody was hurt. Cesaro was not hurt tonight. So, as far as I was told, nothing serious. So, I was thinking that, this is the type of a day where, you could definitely see injuries, because most injuries, or a lot of injuries, come because talent's really exhausted, and they just make errors based on exhaustion. I mean, there's always going to be injuries just based on the fact you're doing pro wrestling, and that naturally is going to lead to injuries. But the schedule, I mean, like, nobody gets hurt more than WWE wrestlers, and that's due to schedule, because they, in theory, work safer than anyone else. Although, I don't know, when I was watching Lars Sullivan throw those guys around on the stairs and everything, I wasn't so sure about that. But, so as far as that goes, this was a show where I was going like, somebody could get hurt. And then Ricochet did that 450 on Cesaro's knee, and he was helped out. But as far as I know, and I asked around, it does not appear that he was hurt or anything like that.
Well, they opened up with footage from the show, and then we had an opening segment where Seth came out, bragged about beating up Brock Lesnar. Baron Corbin came out, got booed out of the building, and claimed an incompetent referee cost him the match. He wants a special guest referee for the show. Sami Zayn came out. He wants to be the special guest referee. And this led to Kevin Owens coming back. And somehow in all of this, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins set up a match for the main event, and Sami Zayn ended up the referee. This was not a 25-minute segment, but...
the outside the ring referee.
Yes. Well, actually, he ended up the inside the ring referee when it was over.
Well, he ran in the ring but he was the outside the ring. John Cone was the referee.
Well, he's the one that got in the ring and rang the bell for the DQ at the finish. So,
yeah.
So we had Yes Large versus the Lucha House Party, and this was what they should have done on Friday. Decided to try it again, I guess. Elimination match, and he destroyed Kalisto, hit him with the freak accident. The gimmick is he doesn't like being called a freak, but his finisher is called the freak accident. So he killed him. And then,
he doesn't like being called a freak. I thought that he was fine with that, because he told Kayla Braxton to say the word.
Well, she had to say the word because he was pointing out that his entire life he'd been called a freak, and it had I guess, weighed on him throughout his entire life. I guess maybe now the story is he's using that to become a monster. I don't know, but that's the name of the finish. And he slammed Metalik, refused to pin him. Powerbomb Lince Dorado pinned him. And then he press slammed Kalisto into the steps. Another freak accident on Metalik. and almost killed Dorado with a spear into the ring post, and then diving headbutts.
He didn't hit he was supposed to. I don't know what he was supposed to do, but he just dropped him on the floor.
I think he hit the post, but he fell on his head.
He fell face first.
Yeah, that was not good.
I watched that back. He didn't hit the post. I rewound that because he looked like he was. I don't know what I think he was supposed to throw him into the post, but he missed the post and he just fell on his face. I don't know which would be worse, but that's what happened.
And then he hit the diving headbutt on Metalik and pinned him, so absolutely destroyed all three guys, and they pushed him as a monster and replayed it 1,000 times, so I don't know what happened on Friday, but they
got cute.
Did it different here.
Yeah, the idea, I guess it's 50-50 booking, so Friday wasn't his turn, and this show was his turn. I don't know. Makes no sense.
I'm not sure. I mean, technically, no, he did win.
Yeah, he won
but
he
via
got
DQ.
He won, but he got beat up.
Yeah, but then he beat them up afterwards.
I know. It made no sense.
So technically, this was not 50-50. He's won 2 in a row, but they did get way too much heat on this guy on Friday.
It was ridiculous, though, because what did that accomplish?
Nothing. It was stupid.
Yeah. It was completely stupid.
We had Truth and Carmella running around backstage or being chased by all the geeks. They get in an elevator. Half the geeks are in the elevator, half the geeks are out of the elevator, but there's no ref. So,
have you ever been in that elevator?
Have I ever been in an elevator?
No, that elevator. I've been in that elevator many times.
I'm not sure I've been in that elevator or not.
Okay, I've been in that elevator. I couldn't even count how many times I've been in that elevator.
Did it get stuck when you were in it?
Never once. What are the odds? I was thinking about that while I was...
A lot of weight.
I've been in that elevator with a lot more people than that. Well, yeah, a lot more people than that, believe it or not. Even though there was a hell of a lot of people in that thing. But, yep, never been stuck before.
Well, they were stuck there for the whole show. We'll get into that.
Nobody even bothered to help them?
Nah, they're just in there. And we never even know how they got unstuck. It's just the door opened at the end of the show.
Yeah, they were just... Somebody fixed it.
So Lacey was backstage, Seth and Becky are talking backstage, and then we have a Becky-Lacey split screen. It's like they're via satellite, except they're both in the building. And
yeah, John Jones, Daniel Cormier. John Jones, Daniel Cormier, but not as good.
So Becky noted she'd already tapped at the last pay-per-view, and that she's bigger and stronger, but she can't allow her to be champion. And she's mad she cost her the SmackDown title. And Lacey says her man bravado is just a front. Becky is afraid that fear will come true at Stomping Ground and vow to take her title. This was straight out of like 1992 Superstars. This
didn't excite me whatsoever to see them wrestle. I don't, No. The only thing that was good was they had Lacey knocking everybody out later in the show, but this segment, I mean, so much talking, one after another. In that first hour, it was like, are they like actively trying to like, just, remember that time that they did that show where they did like almost no wrestling in the first hour and the rating in the first hour was terrible?
That was a couple of weeks ago. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks ago. So you would think from that, you would learn, and there's so many.
Well, I think I would learn from when WCW did shows with no wrestling in the first hour and absolutely died.
Well, WCW, when they did that, they died even worse. But yeah, you would think that you would learn from those type of things. And this one, it was like, just one talk segment after another. And not even good talks. I mean, like, good talk. I don't, when people talk about the balance between the wrestling and the talking, I don't care. Like someone goes, oh, there was only so-and-so amount.
It doesn't matter if it's good.
That's right. It's like, if the talking is good, you could go talk for 3 hours as far as I'm concerned if you're good enough, which nobody is. But if you're like The Rock, you could talk for 20 minutes and I don't care. But, if you're an average talker, you're probably best at 3 minutes or less. And if you're a terrible wrestler, it's better off having talking. But
dude, those NWA Crockett shows in the 80s were like 80% talking. Because everything else was like a 2-minute squash match. And then you had these great guys cutting great interviews.
Yeah, but that's
never like I complained about it.
Yeah, but that stuff sucked in the ratings too. That's when Dusty switched to doing the 30-second squash and 90-second interviews format, the ratings plummeted. So that didn't work either. Even though, and they had some of the greatest talkers in the world, but you got to have some wrestling in your wrestling, or some competitive wrestling in your wrestling, or that's not going to work either.
We have Alexa and Nikki backstage, and Nikki can't figure out why. We beat the Iconics. Why aren't we teaming up against them for the titles? And Alexa says...
Because those titles don't mean anything.
She says, well, I'm the number one contender to Bayley's title, so we're going to do a match with champions and challengers here tonight. She says Bayley was awful to her in NXT. She'd only be nice to you if she needed something. She would alienate you. And Alexa wanted to know if Nikki would be in her corner tonight, and they hugged. So, long story short, everyone, Nikki's character is an absolute idiot who doesn't watch SmackDown, and she's dumb. So, there you go.
Wasn't that Bayley's character?
Yeah. But,
okay, so Nikki's doing Bayley's character, and they couldn't get Bayley over with that character. Oh, that's okay.
And a video about how awesome Saudi Arabia was. We had Miz out for Miz TV with Samoa Joe.
Wait, they said it was awesome?
They had the thing. Oh, everyone had such a great time. And
did anyone have a great time? I guess the kids in the audience had a great time.
Kids in the audience definitely had a great time.
But God, us that had to watch it, I mean, almost nobody liked that show. I mean, that's probably one of the worst received shows in the history of the company. I don't think it was the worst show ever because a lot of the wrestling was average, and I've seen shows where everything sucks. So I couldn't say it was the worst, but it was like on the list of worst shows, it would be near the bottom.
So anyway, I think I fell asleep during this segment, but I opened my eyes and we've got Joe out there. And Cesaro, Ricochet, Miz, Strowman, Lashley, they all want the title. They all get in a brawl. This leads to a commercial.
I don't know. Do they all want the title?
Yeah, they all want Joe's title. But somehow it led to a 6-man.
No, I think they just were coming out. I mean, is Bobby Lashley want his title?
Every single person came out and wanted that title.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, Braun and Miz and Ricochet faced Lashley, Joe, and Cesaro. And this match started with Braun Strowman and Lashley doing lucha high spots. And it was simultaneously awesome and completely ridiculous. It was like that one time that the Big Show and Kane decided they were going to do technical wrestling on the mat for a few minutes.
Some people actually liked that, but I remember it was like so terrible.
It was horrible, but it was different. And this was definitely different. Braun Strowman doing the big roll, Lashley doing the big leapfrog, and just wacky. Got heat on Miz for a bit. Ricochet got a hot tag. Come back from commercial. They're just beating on Ricochet. No idea how or why. Miz got a hot tag, and anyway, the whole point of this is Miz hits Cesaro with the skull-crushing finale at the end, and Ricochet goes up top, and he goes for 630, and for some reason, I've never seen this happen with him before. He jumped straight up in the air, and then just began to drift south, and he landed right on Cesaro's legs, and Cesaro immediately grabs his right leg.
On his thigh, yeah.
And Ricochet gets a pin, and Cesaro's grabbing his leg. He rolls outside. He limps to the back. Like you said, apparently he's fine, but that was a broken leg waiting to happen. And that dude's lucky that didn't happen. It was just bizarre. It was like Cesaro was doing this outside, and like there was a wind that blew and just blew him south as he went for this move.
I don't know. Just was, he landed on his thigh.
Kayla with Corbin. He wants a fair and unbiased referee. Didn't they acknowledge that Sammy was going to be the referee? Did I miss something?
Didn't Shane had to put him in as referee. It was when Shane announced him as referee because Sammy came up to Shane in one of the segments and started talking about refereeing the main event on this show, not as kind of like a prelude to refereeing the Corbin and Seth Rollins match.
Well, goddamn, did that ever make me want to see that Stomping Grounds match after this prelude?
Yeah. So I know, really. So the idea was that he told Shane that well, maybe I should get a trial run, and then it was just like, well, how about I be the outside the ring referee, and then Shane does this bit about like, I have an idea. Why don't you become the outside the ring referee? Like exactly, it was like this like weird segment of trying to spoof everyone in wrestling who takes credit for ideas that really they're just listening to somebody else.
It's Vince.
So, everyone.
Your goal is to convince Vince that it was his idea.
Yeah.
And he goes with it.
So Shane, Zayn basically tells him the whole idea, then Shane somehow comes up with the exact same idea, and it was his idea, and so that's what happened. And then Zayn told him what a great idea it was. We
had Alexa and Lacey versus Bayley and Becky, and Lacey looked, and this is low praise, but she was 1,000 times better than she was the last couple of matches she had.
She was better.
Didn't botch one thing, looked totally fine in the ring. Bailey and Alexa got hot tags.
Would you say that? I don't know. I didn't think this match was that good. I mean, it's nothing like last week. Last week was a disaster.
Last week was a new standard.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was waiting for this match. I don't think it was.
It wasn't great.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember is that Bailey tried like a German suplex on Alexa into the turnbuckles, which looked like it was going to whiplash her. But
why would you do that?
I have no idea.
You got a woman who's coming off minimum 2 concussions this year, maybe 3, and some agent came up with a spot of we're going to German her into the buckles on the back of her head.
I was surprised. Everyone was. I have no idea why you would do that, but they did.
Well, anyway, so Lacey gave Becky the woman's right outside, did the same to Becky. Alexa went up top. I guess Evans got a blind tag, and she hit the Judas effect. We now got 3 people in this company doing that move, and pinned Bailey for the win. So, there you go.
I thought that she pinned Bailey with a punch.
Nah.
Let me look at my notes. Hold on.
She hit the punch, and then Alexa went up top. Bailey got the knees up, and then Evans hit the ring.
No, women's right.
And hit the Judas effect.
Women's right and pin. It was supposed to be the punch. If it wasn't.
So she spun backwards to do a punch?
It was supposed to be the punch. They called it the women's right. I mean, that's what the announcers even called it that. Yeah.
Hold on a minute here. Anyway, talk about the Shane and Sammy segment.
I already did.
Talk about it again.
I have nothing new to say about it. It's just what I just said.
There's no way I'm going crazy here. It's impossible. I mean, it's not impossible. It's almost 2:00 in the morning, but let's see what it says here. Let's see if I'm crazy. Let's see. A second women's right. That's what it says here on the front page. Is everybody blind except me, or am I the only one who's blind?
All I know is that the announcers called it the women's right, like every time she threw the punch.
Well, these are announcers, so. All right, who cares?
And it was supposed to be the women's right because the announcers were trying to call what it was supposed to be, and I don't remember it being. My notes don't tell me that she messed it up or anything. So yeah.
All right, so we had the Paul Heyman segment in the ring. Actually, this is a good one for you to take us through. Paul Heyman segment.
Okay, so Paul Heyman came out, and he said that against his wishes, Brock did not cash in last week when Seth was destroyed. So, because he felt that he could beat Seth on any day. So, so they tried to cash it in, and Seth put a beating on Brock over and over. Seth actually came out with a chair that he bashed Brock with, or at least, I don't know that he really flew the chair back from, maybe he did. Or maybe they just bashed a new chair in, because it kind of makes no sense to bring the chair back from Saudi Arabia. I mean, I guess you could, but whatever. And Paul said that they're not going to tell you when they're going to cash it in. It could happen tonight. He goes,
oh my God, what a shocker.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you Brock's here. I'm not going to tell you he's not here. He might cash it in at Stomping Grounds, maybe. Who knows when he's going to cash it in. But he goes, but at some point he's going to cash it in. He goes, it's not a prediction, and it's not even a spoiler. It's a threat and a promise and a guarantee that he's going to win the championship when he cashes it in. And he called Brock Lesnar the Beast Slayer, since Seth Rollins is the Beast Slayer. So there you go. So
well, she definitely punched her. I just watched it again.
Okay.
I guess I am out of my mind.
Okay, good. That's
I don't know what the hell happens. All right, so then we had Geek still stuck in the elevator, and then the Iconics came out for another squash match.
So hold on. Drake Maverick is getting married, and EC3 was upset because he didn't know, but Drake Maverick then asked EC3 to be his best man.
Actually told him he was his best man.
Oh, so
there was a breakdown in communication somewhere, apparently.
So EC3 didn't know? He didn't get the message?
Sounds like to me. What's his gimmick? That he's just constantly drinking?
EC3?
Yeah.
I can't go long without food because he wanted to eat somebody, right?
Yeah. But every time we've seen him for the last several weeks, he's had a cup in his hand.
I have no idea. They haven't established much of anything for EC3, although he has started to talk, but not do promos. Yeah. So these guys, they just still in that elevator. I mean, I guess whatever. It's like it's probably the most some of the most entertaining stuff on the show, and even so, it's just I don't know, just feels like bad stuff.
Iconics out for another squash match. They actually won this one. And
it's a squash match. Of course they won.
So they've won 2 matches since winning the titles. Both of them have been squash matches.
Yeah.
And they've lost every match to every team, but they never actually defend the titles against any of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clips of Roman.
They haven't done a good job booking them as champions, have they?
No. Clips of Roman losing at Super Showdown. Then we got a Roman promo. Roman's mad. He vows to kick ass and take names at Stomping Grounds, and the first name's going to be Drew McIntyre. So, like, Shane's the end result of all of this? Like, at some point, he's got to beat all these geeks to get back at Shane and get his win back? Is that what we're doing here?
Well, I mean, he's got to beat Shane at some point. I think that's established.
I mean, we said that about The Miz. That never happened. I realize it's The Miz, but...
Yeah, it's The Miz. I think the idea of The Miz putting him over was to set up the Reigns feud. So, but Reigns, he's got to beat Shane at some point, but who knows when that'll be. He's, just, an idea. Hey, look, the only thing I could say about this is that the original idea for all this was Elias. So this is an upgrade.
This is an upgrade. Shane's celebration comes out there, cuts a promo, and fans chant boring.
See him drinking out of the cup?
Yeah.
Yep, that was a spoof on the Sharks not drinking out of the Stanley Cup.
Fans are bored. Shane says, I got all night. Drew cuts a promo. Shane says, let's celebrate. He drinks out of the cup. The Revival comes down. They want to drink out of the cup. Shane says, no, you got a tag match. It's a 3-way now. As of noon today, it was a tag match. By 2 o'clock, it was a 3-way.
Well, the 3-way made more sense.
It did make more sense. But what would have made sense, actually, was the Usos versus Ryder and Hawkins, because they beat the Revival. But the Revival...
Yeah, but the Revival's the one that's going to ended up as champions.
Well, I know that, but like in storyline, it doesn't make any sense for them to be in the match. What would have made sense was Usos versus Ryder and Hawkins, since the Usos won the match on Friday.
Using logic, but we've already established that you can't do that with WWE because they don't think that way.
So we had the 3-way, and in fact... Revival won. They stole the pin. They snuck in the back door. They got the titles.
Never seen that finish before. But
your typical WWE booking, nobody's over, nobody gets over, nobody cares about the belts, whatever.
True, nobody cares about the belts. Do you realize that the 24/7 belt with all the prelim guys is actually like more over than almost every belt in the company right now? Because the Universal title's got Baron Corbin in it, although it's still more over than the 24/7 belt. WWE title, with Kingston and Ziggler is a little more over. But I mean, if you look at like the tag titles, U.S. title, Intercontinental, there's more emphasis and more, they spend more time on the 24/7 title than all of them put together.
They do spend more time on it, but they also have made it abundantly clear that the stars don't care one bit about this stupid belt.
Well, the stars don't really care about most of the belts.
Hey, you have people coming out and wanting the U.S. title. You have people wanting the Universal title, but like...
Universal title... And
Drew just stands there and laughs at title changes when he's in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, but Alexa Bliss blew off the tag team titles like it meant nothing.
Well, she blew off the tag team titles because she's getting a shot at the women's title.
Yeah, but still...
That definitely outranks those women's tag team titles.
Yeah, but people, the stars aren't going after the Intercontinental, and they're not going after, the tag team titles at all.
Geeks are still in the elevator. The door finally opens.
The SmackDown tag team titles, like they've got champions and no challengers.
Well, that's not the fault of the champions. There's no teams on the whole brand.
Yeah. They put Apollo Crews and Chad Gable together. I don't know if they're going to put them together on TV tomorrow, but it was supposed to be the Usos. Maybe it'll be the Usos again. Who knows? Even though they're in the other brand and they beat them in a non-title match and they never followed up on it. Maybe they'll follow up on it tomorrow and go back to it. Who knows? Since the Usos lost in this one.
Elevator door opens. We have another brawl. Carmella pulls Truth into the elevator. It goes down. He's escaped again. That was the payoff to this throughout the entire show. Firefly Funhouse, Bray kills Ramblin' Rabbit for threatening to tell everyone what's really going on in the Funhouse. And for the 8th week in a row, Michael Cole, after the thing was over, said, "What was that?" I think somebody would have clued him in by now.
Yeah, so, yeah. There you go.
Seth and Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn is the outside referee. Constant, incessant interference by Sami Zayn. Like, they could have had a match, and it kind of got good there at the end, but Sami gets in, Sami gets in, Sami gets in, Sami gets in. Seth hits curb stomp. Sami pulls the ref out of the ring. Sami demands a DQ because Seth had done a dive and bonked into him. Seth yells at him, grabs his shirt, Sami DQs him. That's the finish. So then, after Kevin is announced the winner via DQ, Seth goes after Sami. Corbin hits the ring. Corbin stomps a mud hole in him. Owens leaves. Rollins makes a comeback. Corbin leaves, and Rollins destroys Sami with a chair like he did to Brock at the Saudi show. Beat him up for 3 straight minutes. Laid him out with the curb stomp. And that was that. The show is going to die in the ratings.
Yeah, there wasn't really much to the show at all. I mean, other than the tag team title change.
This doesn't say a lot, but I did notice that on our board, like the Raw thread is usually like 60, 80 pages long. And this one was like as long as one of those taped shows in the UK. Like nobody was watching and commenting on this show tonight.
Well, I think most people were watching that basketball game. I mean, I would say most, but a lot of people watched that basketball game, especially in Canada. It's probably gigantic numbers. It was a hell of a game, too. Went down to the wire. Warriors won. Like, literally last second win, practically. Or last... I mean, it was... You know, it came down to the last shot. The Raptors missed the shot. They would have won. You know, so... And that was, I don't know, with 3 seconds left, 5 seconds left. Super exciting game. Back and forth in the fourth quarter. That was actually after Raw was over. But, you know, it was... Kevin Durant got hurt. So his injury was legit. So he ended up hurt worse than Ibushi or Naito or any of these people we were worried about. His calf popped. He came back too quick because if the Warriors would have lost...
We're sure this is a legit injury, Dave?
Kevin Durant's injury was legit, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Yes, his calf popped in early in the game and because he came back too soon. And people were like calling him a pussy and things like that for not playing when his team needed him. And then he played, he did great, and then his calf, I don't know what the injury was, but he just went down. So there you go. Yeah. He ended up hurt more than anybody. So Kota Ibushi had a black eye, and that was pretty much it, is what he ended up with. So, although I cannot imagine that his neck is feeling good no matter what. But, you know, I mean, Will Ospreay took that same type of fall, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay broke his toe. I remember he broke his toe, and I even messaged him, and I go like, you know, oh God, did you break your toe? And he goes, yeah. He goes, but don't worry, I'll be wrestling this week. And he did like 2 or 3 4 3/4-star matches the next week. The week right after breaking his toe. He's in, you know, I don't even know what to say. It's like, it's just crazy. But he did. He just, you know, some people just, you know, they just.
Let's talk about this Raw show. Go home show for
catch up.
stomping ground.
It was an interesting show. I thought that as far as just sitting there for 3 hours of entertainment, it was much better than most Raws. I never got bored at any point during the show. I'm not saying everything was good, but I never got bored. But I had there were some real problems with the show as well. I know, you know, okay, so like, so Baron Corbin gets beat in a tag match, you know, just a few days before he's in this title match. And I know, like, you know, when you have, you know, the mentality, when you have a weak challenger, you got to push the hell out of him because of a weak challenger. Now, obviously, in their mind, they don't believe Baron Corbin's a weak challenger. I beg to differ, okay? But in their mind also, they'll go, but at the end of the show, he hit Seth Rollins with a chair a whole bunch of times. And that's correct. The last image is that he got the better of Seth Rollins. But by doing so, you're also telling people wins and losses don't matter, which of course they've been telling us for years. But it's just another example of wins and losses don't matter a lick there, which they don't. And then what was the other thing? Oh, again, it's like the big buildup for this show was, more than anything else, was Baron Corbin's going to announce who the referee is. And we waited for 3 hours and the show ended, and it's like we still don't know. They did a whole bunch of skits that actually were very good for getting Seth Rollins over, and it was Seth Rollins was pushed as like a Steve Austin kind of babyface, and that's good because they've been really crappy at booking babyfaces for a long time, and I thought that with Seth they were very, very good the whole show. But coming off of all this, Brock Lesnar's going to cash in tonight. Brock Lesnar's going to cash in tonight. Brock Lesnar's going to announce who he's cashing in against, and week after week, and then doing this, it's like, I wish that they would tell those writers there's a story. There's a reason that everyone knows the story of the boy who cried wolf. I'm sorry. But, because you keep doing this and you're going to get to the point where no one's going to believe nothing that you advertise and nothing that you say. And I don't know that that's a good thing. I know they don't care. And again, they're not subject to the old rules of wrestling because all their money's guaranteed. But their ratings aren't guaranteed, and we know from WCW, we know from a lot of people, and we know from WWE the last couple of years that you don't give people good. You screw people on stories week in and week out, and they will stop watching, and that's never a good thing. So I thought that for the entertainment side, they it was entertaining, but I mean, when that show was over, it's like, I can't believe that they're so the idea is you got to, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure they're not going to announce it on Tuesday. So I think that the idea is that we're going to go to the pay-per-view not knowing who the heel referee is. So I don't know. Is that like a big lure now to watch the pay-per-view that's not selling well?
Well, all I know is I'm going to this show, and it's going to be fun in the sense that I usually have fun at live events, but man, this card, the Corbin thing. Show starts with Elias in the ring. He's got a referee shirt on. Baron picked him to be a special guest. He has begun speaking when Seth comes out, beats the hell out of him with a bunch of chair shots, and says, "This is a message for anyone considering being the special referee. No matter what Baron has promised you, a chair awaits you on the other side, so choose wisely."
And that ended up being the theme of the show. So did you notice Elias's interview was the exact interview that Jon Moxley said that Vince McMahon said he wanted him to do when he was in Los Angeles?
I did not notice that.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people noticed that. Because Moxley described the whole interview in one of his interviews. I think it was the Jericho one. I don't think it was the Wade Keller one. I could be wrong because I heard both and they kind of run together with me. But yeah, he explained this whole thing that Vince wanted and he didn't want to do it. And he, so Elias did it. And it's just like, it's like after a lot of people heard that podcast, for them to go in there and have Elias do it, I mean, is it like, that's almost kind of weird to me. But they liked, it's like, well, we liked it, and we haven't been in Los Angeles, and now we're in Los Angeles, so goddamn it, we're going to have somebody do this interview, so we'll have Elias do it, and he did it.
Well, there you go. Well, he laid in the ring, and then Miz, Lashley, Cesaro, Ricochet, Strowman all came out for elimination match, and they all laid him out with their finishers one by one. So Joe's there to watch because the winner gets Joe at the pay-per-view, and within about 2 minutes, Cesaro does a couple spots with Strowman. Cool power spots, I might add. But then Lashley tries a spear. Strowman power slams him onto Cesaro, pins Cesaro.
Okay, I want to make, since Cesaro's out, I want to make mention of something. In this match, I think Cesaro, how many times was he thrown? I mean, Bobby Lashley did it. Cesaro did it. And wasn't there a third one?
How many times was Cesaro thrown?
Like slammed, essentially, in some form. Suplex slammed. There was a suplex. Lashley, I think, did the suplex. But I think there were 3 spots because I remember each time. The point I'm making is that the first slam, which I think was the Cesaro one, got a big pop.
You talking about Strowman?
Strowman, yeah, being slammed three times. So the first one got a big pop. The second and the third got diminishing pops each time. To me, I think that speaks volumes that you should not be slamming. You can slam Strowman once, but you should not be continually slamming him because one of the things about his aura as a big guy is that he stands there and he's immovable and everything. And if you just keep throwing him around, like if you're a big guy and you're a super worker and they throw you around like Vader was, because you're a super worker, you can make it work. But with Strowman not being a super worker by any means, I think that they need to protect him. I don't even understand the booking. Well, like why make this an elimination match? I mean, you
got to make sure that everybody is a geek, which is essentially what happened here in this match.
I mean, they could accomplish the same thing by having guys brawl out of the ring, and Ricochet can go and pin the Miz or whoever, right, at the end, and you accomplish the same ending without mildly hurting everyone.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Strowman was hurt. I thought Strowman was hurt significantly. I mean, not killer hurt, but he was definitely hurt, and he was definitely less over when the thing was over. Even though they tried to give him the big comeback at the end. And the other thing with Strowman, and you and I both talked about this, is they need to stop doing the running spots. It's really bad when he does the running spots now.
So like I said, 2 minutes, he pins Cesaro. A minute later, power slams Lashley, pins him. Runs over everybody. A lot of running here. And then Lashley gets back in the ring, and him and Cesaro lay out Braun, even though they've been eliminated. Ricochet hits a 630, pins Braun Strowman. So it's one of those examples of they gave Braun, they tried to protect the guy, but at the end they still beat him.
And for no reason.
So I just don't understand the point, but comes down to, of all people, Ricochet versus The Miz. And they do
two baby faces.
They do a match. And Ricochet does a flip dive. Miz puts him in a long figure 4. Ricochet turns it over. Miz tries his springboard, which never looks good. It's like John Cena's springboard stunner. Runs into a code breaker. Ricochet goes up top, crushes him with a 630, gets the pin. So it is Ricochet versus Samoa Joe at the pay-per-view. Joe goes after him. Ricochet low bridges him, hits a big dive to the outside. And that was that. You know what's funny about this show is...
The one thing is Joe and Ricochet may, because you never can count on anything for sure, because you never know how much time they're going to get and what kind of position they're going to be put in. But on paper, Joe and Ricochet probably have a hell of a match.
They should. So I usually get upset because there's so much incessant heat on these Raw shows. But here we are on a go-home show for the pay-per-view, and in every single confrontation, except for the very end of the show, the babyfaces went over on the heels.
Not Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre at the end.
Roman Reigns and Drew What are you talking about?
Wait, didn't Drew? Oh, did Drew not lay him out at the end?
No, Roman Reigns beat the hell out of everybody and left them all laying and walked out with his head held high.
That's right.
Every single babyface on this show did that.
He came back out. Wait, okay, I'm trying to remember because he was getting beaten on, so he came back. That's right, he came back. Oh God. Okay, so
my point is they overdo heat. But there is a time to get heat, and that is to get you interested in a pay-per-view and the babyfaces getting their revenge. Like, the babyfaces, it's like this whole show, I was just like, what am I buying the pay-per-view for? Like, the babyfaces have won every single confrontation. Like, the heels that need help got beaten. It was just
right, because that's what I was thinking.
Mind-boggling.
I was thinking that, except for Baron Corbin at the end. So
Becky comes out.
Well, hold on. There's one other thing in that match. I'm trying to remember what it was. What was it? I guess it doesn't matter that much at this point.
Becky came out, calls out Lacey. Lacey, for the first time, comes out on Raw and explains to the world that she is, in fact, a real-life United States Marine.
But in, the context, do you know what I mean? It's like totally, it's true. But, I mean, you have to, I don't know.
She comes out, she does her promo.
Now I do remember what it was. Okay, so know that these multiple person matches are no DQ matches in WWE. But it's like, I just thought when I'm watching John Cone, while these guys who've been eliminated are just beating up, like, it's one thing if it's like a quick trip or a poke in the eyes or something, but they're just beating down Strowman. And the ref's just watching it. It just looks stupid.
So going back to this Lacey deal, she says the division needs a real lady. Says Becky is beatable. In fact, she's already made her lose one of her titles. She gets in the ring. Becky lays her out with an exploder. They play Becky's music, and that was the angle. What?
Wasn't that unbelievable?
What?
Yeah. They showed a lot of, it's an interesting one too. They showed a lot of Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins together.
They did that last week too. They're hammering this into your head that they're a couple.
I mean, it's a great idea because I watch it and I go like, they're going to do an angle with one of them, where the other one, gets up, something happens. Oh, I mean, hopefully like something, and probably, probably the way to, like the normal way to do it would be somehow someone does something heinous to Becky and Seth, so now Seth has a real reason to be a babyface. But because it's Becky, I almost wonder if would they do that, because they don't want to make Becky look weak and be the victim, so to speak. And I'm not sure I would want her to be the victim either. But they're showing some. But it's like that's like the most natural angle when you book two people to be really close together. You either book them to break up, which in this case, because they're a real life couple, and also because of who the two people are, that means you have to turn one of them, which I think would be, in both cases right now, would be stupid. So the other idea would be to, normally is you're looking to get heat on one or the other by the other one being hurt in some way. And
listen, all I know is I lived through the Mandy Rose, Uso, whichever Uso it was, and Naomi. Of course, that's my point. It sucked. So I wouldn't be sitting here hoping you're going to get another Kurt Angle, Stephanie McMahon sort of deal here. Because
no, I'm not.
I ain't going to get it in 2019.
I don't want that kind of an angle at all. And those angles suck. No, I mean an angle where somebody's taken out and there's like something where
the Kurt Angle Steph storyline did not suck. The end sucked.
Yeah, but
everything up until then was awesome.
But you can't do this. But this kind of a couple. I mean, like this is not a.
I'm not saying the same angle. I'm saying like an in-depth angle where something involving these two having a relationship and somebody getting involved or somebody getting attacked or whatever.
I don't want that. No, I want I don't want when pro wrestling does a thing if they do this couple where they start doing one's jealous of the other or there's someone flirting with the other one and the other one gets mad and those little things like that.
You know that's going to happen with Lacey.
Okay, well, I hope not.
Lacey's going to do something with Seth. Becky's going to get angry.
That's going to suck because whenever they do those kind of angles, they're always terrible. The angle that would work would be you do something heinous to one of them and the other one wants to kill the other person. That's an old school angle that would, that Dusty Rhodes would book or that any booker in that era would book that would draw money because you actually have something that people can feel. If someone did that to my loved one, I would be out to kill them. I want to watch this guy kill them. If you're doing one of these fake soap opera things now with their writers and Vince McMahon, come on.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
That's just when I know. I'm just saying that's a way to do it. But to do this, a relationship angle, the way they do it, that's just filling time. That's, 90% probably not going to work.
Revival show up with Shane and Drew in the VIP area. They're all partying. Charlie's with Baron Corbin. She says that Elias is no longer interested in being the guest referee. Corbin says, no problem. He was my pick, but what happened happened. I've got a lot of great buddies, and I'm going to reveal who will be the referee tonight on the Kevin and Sammy show.
Okay, so given that that one of his choices was Eric Young, who has essentially been like nobody on the show, I don't know that he really had a lot of buddies.
Seth shows up, waffles him with a chair, says he has more work to do. They tell us the Viking Raiders are next. Go to commercial, we come back. It's Daniel Bryan and Rowan. And they come out. Daniel Bryan buries the place. Vows to destroy Seth Rollins tonight, says they're better than the entire Raw roster. Viking Raiders come out. They face Russ and Randy Taylor. They squash them. Stare down with the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and that was the segment.
The stare down was earlier.
Yeah.
On the way out. Yeah. Yeah. So are they going to go in that direction?
Who knows? Truth and Carmella shown in disguise in the crowd. All the geeks run out, chase him around. He hides under the ring. They go to get him. They drag out Titus O'Neil because once you slide under the ring one time, you're always under the ring in WWE. Truth flees, and that's the story.
Yeah.
Sammy and Kevin have a talk with Corbin. Then Heath Slater shows up in the VIP room, and he says, listen, I got kids. Money's tight. Shane, can I get a raise? Revival laughs, which actually was funny. Shane says, it takes balls to walk in like that. I got kids too, but the answer is no. You walked in here like a man. I'm going to let you walk out like a man. So Heath leaves. Shane gives Drew the signal. Drew goes out in the hall and says, listen, I want to help you out here. Drops some money on the ground accidentally. But anyway, Heath goes to pick it up. He beats the hell out of the guy. Destroys him. I was very sad Jinder was not there to break this up, but 3MB permanently disbanded here tonight. Kevin and Sammy show with Baron Corbin.
You missed the best part.
What was that?
The Revival running in and picking up all the money and stuffing it in their pockets.
They did come get the money, yes.
That made the whole segment.
I thought that what made the whole segment was when Heath wanted a raise and they laughed. That, to me, was the funniest thing in this segment, not them picking up the money. Anyway, we had the Kevin and Sammy show. Kevin and Sammy says they're withdrawing their names from consideration, want to know who he's got for a referee. He says, I got a man born account 123. It's EC3. And he comes out. Seth beats the hell out of him. New Day comes out. Kevin and Sammy tell him to hit the road. Kofi says, I'm the champion. I can do whatever I want. He wants a 6-man tag tonight. They pick up EC3's body. Kofi plays ventriloquist, has him announce the match. He announces the match, but he does not announce that it is a, what was it? 2 out of 3 falls match, but it just randomly was later. But before we get to that, AJ's backstage, because the show is so bizarrely put together. AJ's backstage. Gallows and Anderson show up.
He's in the trainer room.
Getting cleared, apparently.
Was that what it was?
I think so.
Okay.
So he says, listen, 3 years ago, you guys debuted at the Staples Center. You beat up the Usos, but you got comfortable. You made a lot of money. I don't know when the last time you guys have been on WWE TV was. You guys have to get serious. I miss the old Gallows and Anderson. They say if you want us to get serious, we have a match with the Usos tonight. We're going to beat the so-called best tag team in the world. And off they go. So yeah, we had a best of 3 falls match. New Day versus Sammy, Kevin, and Baron Corbin. And as God is my witness, Xavier rolls up and pins Sammy in the first fall. They go to the second fall. They're beating on Big E. He gives Kofi the hot tag. Baron hits a deep 6. Everybody breaks it up. Corbin accidentally clotheslines Sammy. Kevin and Sammy leave after super kicking Corbin. And then Kofi hits Corbin with the kick, and they pin him to win in 2 straight falls.
Yep.
I watched this when they announced best of 3 falls, and I thought, you know what? Baron's going to pin Kofi in one of these falls. Because Kofi's a SmackDown champion. He's getting a Raw championship match. They got to give this fucking guy something.
No. He shouldn't have pinned Kofi. But he should have pinned Xavier's or Big E.
Dude, he can pin Kofi. Who cares?
No.
Kofi's beaten Dolph on Sunday. It doesn't matter. But Baron needs to get a giant win because he is a geek in street clothes facing Seth Rollins for the title at the pay-per-view. They gave him less than nothing here.
Just because he's a geek doesn't mean he needs to pin Kofi. Kofi only needs to lose for a reason, and then a reason having to do with him defending his title. So he should not have beaten Kofi. He could have beaten one of the other two, but he didn't.
Yeah, but who gives a shit about Baron Corbin beating Big E or Xavier? It doesn't mean a thing. He's still a dork.
Yeah, but Kofi's over. At least as over as guys are right now. And I wouldn't sacrifice him for Baron Corbin. Just because Baron Corbin's not over, you don't sacrifice Kofi over it. There's other guys. That's what Xavier Woods' role should be in this match, but it wasn't. Instead, they beat Corbin because it doesn't matter anyway.
How many tickets they sold for Tacoma Dome so far?
I just was told a few thousand.
A few thousand.
I don't know what that means. A few thousand.
You know what that means? 2,000. What it sounds like to me. A few thousand.
Oh, it can't be 2. That would be horrendous. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I know what they're drawing. They're drawing below usual, but they're not drawing ghastly bad. In as far as the house shows, they're drawing below usual. They're flat. Although Tacoma is unusually low for a pay-per-view, very unusually low. So, it was kind of thrown together at the last minute. There's a lot of reasons, but, it's like, this is as far as like a pay-per-view goes, even with Joe and Ricochet, which, was a cool match. There are not a lot of cool matches on the show. And, we got Seth Rollins against the guy who got pinned on TV, who lost in 2 straight falls on TV in one match. Yeah. And that's the main event, isn't it?
That's the main event.
With a secret referee. So I guess the big intrigue is like, who's the secret referee?
Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Alexis with Nikki Cross. This kind of pissed me off. So Nikki goes, I got a gift for you. And it is a championship match against the Iconics tonight. Mm-hmm. And Nikki Cross she's like so excited. And Alexa's telling her to like calm down. Like you're being a geek. Why are you so excited? I'm like, just get a fucking tag team championship match. Like she should be excited. You're making her out to be a geek because she's so excited to get a title match.
I guess. I don't know. That's fine. This was actually fine by me.
Not by me.
I actually thought it was funny because she thought she was getting that cup, and Alexa didn't want to really give her a cup.
Heyman's in the ring.
Coffee mug.
Heyman's ranting and raving about Seth. Says, I'm not going to be the ref. Nobody should want to be the ref. This guy's crazy. Buries the Lakers. Says Seth is vulnerable because he's facing Daniel Bryan tonight. Maybe Brock Lesnar will be here, he says. I thought, how dumb do you think these people are? But maybe he won't be here.
Plenty. What do you think?
I know, it's sad. Baron wants Eric Young to be the ref. Eric Young walks off, runs into Seth. Says, listen, Seth, I don't want to be this dude's ref. I told him I'd think about it to get this guy away from me. He bothers me. Seth says, don't worry, we're buddies. Everything's all right. And Eric Young turns to leave, and Seth jumps him from behind and lays him out and beats his ass with a chair. Yeah. What an asshole friend.
Yeah, but that's Steve Austin. That's like total Steve Austin. That's how Steve Austin got over.
Actually, when Steve Austin had friends like Mick Foley, he didn't beat their ass from behind.
Yeah, but Eric Young's not his friend.
He said he was his friend.
We've never had any relationship shown.
He said we go way back.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like Steve Austin would do the same thing. And Steve Austin would have guys in the ring with him, drinking beer with him, and then he would stun him for no reason. He frickin' stunned Stacy Keibler for no reason. I mean, he would just stun people left and right, and that's how he got over.
At least he stunned him face to face, not like this coward Seth Rollins.
I will agree with you. He did kick him in the stomach and stun him face to face because for a stunner you have to be in front of the guy. For a chair shot from the back, you have to be behind the guy because you can't do a chair shot to the front because then you're going to hit the head and that's illegal. So that's the problem.
Usos promo on Gallows and Anderson. Then we had the match. Crowd's dead, sadly. They go for the Magic Killer. Jimmy breaks it up. Jay makes a tag. Super kick on Gallows. Double super kick. They pin him. So AJ's backstage. He's all disappointed. Gallows and Anderson are yelling at each other in the ring. If this were 2 years ago, I would have watched this and thought, holy shit, they're going to put these guys together. Like, this is a storyline. In 2019, I got no faith. I hope they prove me wrong.
What, you think they're going to put Styles, Gallows, and Anderson together?
I mean, if it were any other wrestling company, that's what they're doing here. That's the storyline they built up on this show.
You can't trust their storylines.
That's what I just said. That's disappointing to me.
Unless Gallows and Anderson have signed, they're on their way out. I mean, unless they, like I said, unless they just signed.
Well, what the hell did they spend all this time doing this storyline for on this show for nothing?
Maybe they're trying to bury him on the way out. They did lose in 2 minutes.
They did lose. We got a Wacky Hogan promo at the USA Women's Soccer Team, an FS1 commercial, basically.
That was interesting, though, because it's, WWE never promotes somebody else unless it's, their own people. So that tells you that they are really behind. Fox is their own people now, even though the contract hasn't started yet.
Roman comes out for a promo. This was actually pretty good. He's still mad about losing to Shane, wants to whip somebody's ass, calls out Shane, and instead Shane appears on the big screen. There's no shame, he says, losing to the best in the world. I'm not going down there. You should be concerned about Drew McIntyre. In 6 days, Drew says, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to beat your ass. And then I'll consider pinning you. And then I'm going to disfigure you. I want you to go home to your kids and have them scream at the sight of their beloved father. The moment he mentions Roman's kids, Roman just stops, turns around, leaves the ring, starts walking through the crowd. And you know trouble's coming. He goes back there. They send out the Revival. Roman beats the hell out of the Revival. Goes into the VIP room.
Did you see that bump that Dash took?
Yep.
Oh man, he threw him hard against that. What was it, the locker or something? I mean, it was bad. That was a. Well, that's what you're there for. But yeah, he flew for him.
Goes into the VIP room. Goes after Shane and Drew. Puts Drew through a table. Shane runs for his life. Roman chases him, dives over the barricade, beats his ass, hits a Superman punch in the ring, spears him for good measure, walks out with his head held high. Again, totally bizarre for Roman to be beating up every single person to lead to his match with Drew on Sunday, including Drew, I might add.
Okay,
but the fans were into the guy.
Well, of course, because he was booked like a strong babyface, and they're desperate for a strong babyface. So, I mean, for Roman, this was good. I just think that, yeah, I mean, there was no point, like Drew should have been taken out in a different way, like distracted or something, but not like put through a table, like, because that was the point that I remember when I was watching it, when he puts Drew through the table like it's nothing, and it's like, now, why do I exactly want to see this match? Like, if Drew wasn't there and he just got his revenge on Shane, since Shane's owed one anyway, that's great. You know, everything that they did with Shane was great, but the Drew through the table, but maybe the whole situation is Drew's going to, God, I don't see them beating Roman Reigns again. But then again, they do protect Drew, so who knows? I wonder what they'll do on, I mean, that's an interesting booking decision now. Because, I mean, if you watch it, you go kind of like, Drew's owed something because he got thrown in there, powerbombed like it was nothing.
Charlie's with Bailey. This is one of those segments that to me is why women don't watch this show. So Charlie says, Bailey, what do you make of these accusations? Bailey says, what are you talking about? Charlie says, well, on social media, it says you didn't take a picture with the fan wearing a Nikki Cross shirt. Bailey says, that's ridiculous. She leaves. She's there with Natty and Naomi. And when Bailey leaves, Natty takes the phone, looks at it, and says, I wonder if she really didn't take a picture with that fan. I thought, you got the shittiest friends, Bailey. They don't believe you.
Yeah, I know. Especially when the other one's obviously so manipulative. It's like, you can't see through?
Yeah, I was... Iconics versus Nikki and Alexa.
At least it was short.
Yeah, Alexa gets shoved off the apron. Her and Becky start jaw-jacking because Bailey's are watching. Bailey rolls up Nikki for the pin. The camera misses it because they're focusing on Bailey yelling at Alexa. And Alexa gets in the ring, blames all of this on Bailey. Nikki is sad. And after commercial, Nikki says she wants Alexa to take out Bailey at Stomping Grounds, and I'll be in your corner to watch it happen.
Well, at least we got a story. Nikki Cross is going to be in her corner.
Yeah.
Maybe help her win the... man, should she win the SmackDown? I guess it's okay. It's weird because, she's like on the Raw brand, but I guess none of this really matters anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore. So, after 6 weeks of Michael Cole being baffled at the end of every Firefly Funhouse, we go to Michael Cole and he says, hey guys, if you thought that was something, you haven't seen nothing yet. And he throws to the Firefly Funhouse. So, a very not fun funhouse. It's not fun to not belong, he says. Follow the leader, let him in, erase your mind. Things starts burning down. He's playing the cult leader role. I think that Bray Wyatt is so fantastic. I think the Firefly Funhouse is so creative. I'm watching this and it's like, I watch this and I go like, this guy to me is such a star. And I don't know. I just keep thinking in the back of my head, I used to think the same thing when Matt Hardy was doing that gimmick too. And
somehow what happened. But we'll see.
Well, the good news is this is their gimmick, unlike
their
Matt
gimmick.
Hardy's.
Unlike Matt Hardy, that's right, which was doomed because it wasn't their gimmick. But they'll do vignettes for guys for weeks and weeks and weeks and bring them in, and then 3 weeks after they bring them in, you know what I mean? And Grant Bray's a bigger star than most anyway, and they've certainly invested more in this. But yeah, he just comes off like a superstar in these shows. I really admire these segments. The rabbit was alive again, though, right?
Well, there were shots of all of the various puppets. This struck me as maybe the final one, because it looks like everything burned down there at the end, but I've thought that before, and then there's just another one the next week, so we'll see. This did lead to the thing on the show that made me the most furious. It's a stupid thing, but it made me so angry. So we have this awesome Firefly Funhouse. Bray's just completely out of his mind. It's fantastic. They cut immediately to Charlie Caruso. She's there with Daniel Bryan and fucking Rowan. What would you ask in this interview, Dave?
What would I ask Daniel Bryan?
Forget Daniel Bryan. My point is Rowan is standing right there. Does she bother to say, hey, Rowan, what do you think of this Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt? You were only part of his cult for 3 years. Nope.
No, that's not even acknowledged anymore.
She doesn't even mention it. She just says, Daniel Bryan, are you ready for Seth Rollins?
That's not... I mean, that's just their mentality. I mean, it's like...
Well, this mentality sucks. As a fan, this makes me angry.
Okay, I never, for a split second, expected them to bring up the Firefly Funhouse to Bray Wyatt. I mean, to Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan.
I didn't expect it either, but I thought if this were any other television show that wanted to win an Emmy, we'd have at least a little bit of consistency where one of the guys in his cult might be asked about what he thinks about the Firefly Funhouse.
I will agree that if this was like a television sitcom that was a good television sitcom, there would be some sort of acknowledgement from there. But the other thing, too, is Eric Rowan that was with Bray Wyatt, this is like the giant redwood new guy. It's not like that Eric Rowan. You know, they're supposed to be like, you know, you're barely supposed to know that they're the same guy. I mean, that's their mentality.
Dude, I'm 44 years old. I remember that Rowan was with the Wyatt clan.
Well, so was Daniel Bryan, if you remember.
Yes. Like, nobody's asked about Bray. Maybe I wouldn't have been so angry if she would have asked a good question. Her question is, are you ready for Seth Rollins? He says, yes, I'm ready for Seth Rollins. And then we move on.
You know.
So it's Bryan versus Seth. And I hate to complain about everything, but they start this match. It goes 1 minute.
I will complain that okay, so just going right to the thing and let's overview it. Or do you want to wait till it's over?
Well, let me just get to this.
Okay.
They go 1 minute. Rowan attacks Seth Rollins.
He gives him a claw
and it's a disqualification.
Right. He gives him a claw slam on the apron, and then 1 million people run in for no reason.
The heels run in, the New Day runs in, Sammy and Kofi run in, the Revival run in, the crowd is absolutely dead. Usos run in, a brawl breaks out, and then suddenly, completely at random, it is announced that the match will restart, and nobody is allowed at ringside. Now, first off, who made this announcement? What happens if you do come back to ringside? What if Rowan had come back? What's the consequence? Nothing. We just have to accept all of this. So the point of all of this is, after all of that, they do the match again. And all I know is that as a fan, when they first started wrestling, I was so excited for this match. And after the DQ and the run-ins and the random battle royal and the random announcement that it was going to start over and the 4-minute commercial break, by the time they came back, I was done. I was like, I didn't care about this match. And it took halfway through the match before I got into it again. I don't understand why they have to overthink everything. Why couldn't we have just had a Daniel Bryan Seth Rollins main event?
I could not agree with you more. I thought when the thing was over, my first thought was, because I always think, okay, when I see something happen, I may get mad at it, but when it's over, you got to look at it when it's over rather than when it's happening, because there may be a reason. When it was over, it's like, There was no reason. We got Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, which on paper could be one of the great matches in the WWE right now. They had to do a match in 8 minutes. They were given 8 minutes to do a match. They could have done it in 15. They had 15 if they didn't do that other stuff. But they did a minute, then they did a bunch of stuff, and then they had the 4-minute commercial. Now, granted, we'd have a 4-minute commercial in the middle of the match. But still, I'm fine given what we usually get with a 15-minute match with a 4-minute commercial, because so often we have 8 minutes of commercials in a 15. Okay, so we could have had a 15-minute match between these two guys who would have torn the house down, because in the 8-minute match, by about the 4-minute mark, the crowd was pretty much getting back, and they were really into it, and then it was over because it was way too short. And these guys are going back and forth doing their stuff that was working. And yeah, when it's over, it's like we could have ended the show with this great match. And the other one too, this is minor, but he does the curb stomp for the finish. And then he waits a while to do it. So I was sure he's kicking out. So I didn't have that. I didn't have that, the feel that you're supposed to have for the finish. I didn't have that because it's like, because normally you're trained that when maybe it's a training the other way, but it's not. I just felt that, Daniel Bryan is a big enough guy. I mean, I didn't mind him losing at all. He's in a tag team right now, and Seth Rollins is the Universal Champion. And if I'm booking it, it's like, yeah, Seth goes over clean right now. Another time it might be a different answer, but that would be for sure. But it didn't even, it's like it wasn't, like Seth didn't get enough out of it because it was so mishmashed and short and not, it didn't climax in a good way. So while, yes, the wrestling was very good, really good for the time they were given. It was as good as you're going to get with it. That was as good an 8-minute match as you're probably going to see, but it had no reason to be an 8-minute match. It's like it's not like they had so much pressing things. They frickin' had that thing that had no bearing, no meaning, no purpose, just so they would cut the match from 15 to 8, and so you wouldn't get as nearly as good of a match. And yes, when it was over, I would say that I was not infuriated because I just wasn't emotionally into the match. If I was more emotionally into the match, I would probably be infuriated. But when they did the 1-minute DQ, I was already done. So it was just like, oh my God. So when they restarted, it's like, great, they're restarting it. I looked at the clock. I already knew how much time we had left. So I was already like, they don't have enough time to build the match I want to see anyway. So, I'm just not caring that much. They did get me into it because it was good work. But, even then my mentality at this point is like, it's good work, but, it has no meaning at this point. And then when it was over, I felt it had no meaning. And again, I felt that if he's going to beat him, he should have just rolled over and pinned him right after curb stomp rather than wait, because by waiting, it only made it weaker.
So then he goes to leave, and he gets attacked by Baron Corbin. And I presume he's fine, because I haven't heard otherwise. But the second chair shot that Corbin gave Seth, like the edge of the chair looked like it hit him right in the base of the skull. He hit him so hard with the edge of that chair.
I didn't notice that. That would suck.
Seth crumpled, and the referee ran over there and immediately checked him out. And they still got him in the ring. They did the end of days, and then Corbin posed with the title. But that was a brutal chair shot. And that was the end of the show. Corbin holding that belt up after he'd done a job earlier in the show. So yeah, there you go. Stomping Grounds, baby. It's coming up.
Yep.
What do we got for SmackDown?
Just Dolph Ziggler and Xavier Woods, and a moment of bliss with Bayley. That's the only stuff I know. Not making me excited. Maybe they'll announce something tomorrow that'll make me even more excited. But it's just a show.
All right, one last thing here. AEW TV, we didn't mention this earlier. All right, let's talk about this show here. Seth comes out to the 3,500 people. They chant "Burn It Down." Talks about Stomping Grounds. Becky comes out. They did some amazing camera work to show her posing on all four corners, but not actually show most of the building. Seth cuts a promo about how Baron's a smart guy, but he was out there with the best backup on the planet. She says it pays to be the man's man. So, how come Baron Corbin and Lacey? Lacey attacks Becky from behind. She makes her own comeback. Renee astutely points out how stupid Lacey is for attacking her in high heels. Seth pulls Becky off.
That was stupid.
Of course it was stupid.
Why would you do that?
So she shoves him.
I mean, it's one thing if you're going to do the big walk down the aisle and you're trying to make her look really sexy, but there was like no time for that.
Not sexy,
here.
Dave. Sassy.
Okay, okay. But there's no time for that here. I mean, she came out to attack someone from behind in a brawl. I mean, and you're right. I mean, again, I don't walk around in high heels, but I know that when it comes,
if you did, you'd take them off before you attack somebody.
True. Good point. But I mean, the whole thing is whenever I've seen like these, when the women get into fights and they're in the heels, it's either they take them off or they're just awkward as hell. It's like not a good fighting shoe.
So then Baron comes down. Seth goes after him. The baby faces clear the ring. Baron then cuts a promo and says, "Why don't you fly home and make a sandwich for your man, Becky? I picked Lacey because she's the only real woman in WWE. Offers a mixed tag match anytime, anywhere. Lacey suggests Extreme Rules."
So the other women are fake women?
Yeah, everybody except Lacey. So Lacey says, "Fine, we'll take this mixed tag, but we have stipulations." And the stips are, both belts are on the line, and it's winner take all, which if you ask me means if Lacey pins Becky, then Baron gets Seth's title.
Yes, that's what it means.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that like ridiculous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So it's like, I guess, like...
It's a WCW stipulation.
Very much so. And at a time when you probably should be getting your championships over, it's probably not the stipulation that I would do. But, yeah, I mean, they'll have a bigger crowd because they're going to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's a good wrestling market. But, man, those people in Philadelphia who bought those tickets ahead of time, and this is their main event, wow.
Yep. Bryan and Rowan in the Revival versus Usos and New Day. No wrestling during commercials, so this is an elimination match. And they're doing dives about a minute in, and Daniel Bryan and Xavier are in there, and Bryan accidentally dives onto the Revival. So when Xavier kicks out of a cradle, Wilder hits Daniel Bryan, who, by the way, is his own partner. Xavier pins him. So they got rid of Daniel Bryan immediately. Fans hated it. They chanted for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, when they didn't even try to make an attempt to turn him, and the crowd was completely for him. So the thing that they did was they booked it to get him out of there as quick as possible, which they did. But it's like they could have beaten Rowan.
They could have.
They could have, right?
Yeah. Revival pins Woods with a shatter machine. We have a commercial break. Come down. The announcers awkwardly tell us the match has been restarted, even though it wasn't restarted. It's just an elimination match.
No, it was restarted because they rang a bell to restart it.
I realize that, but why would you ring a bell in a fucking elimination match? You just keep going.
I would think so, but they in fact did restart it, and they didn't have any wrestling. They didn't have any wrestling for 4 minutes if you were there live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Usos make a comeback. They're going for the heels go for the Power and Glory suplex, big splash, but Jay takes out Wilder. He does a splash onto Dawson, who had done the superplex, and they get the pin.
Well, there was a tag there that Dawson and Wilder didn't see that set it up. So it was actually a very clever finish.
Yes, it's very creative.
Very, very clever, well done finish. To end that match.
We have Braun Strowman outside preparing for a tug of war with Bobby Lashley, pulling allegedly a 17,000-pound tractor trailer.
Yeah, he's a strong dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Miz in the ring for Miz TV, calls out Carmella and Truth. He alerts us that the 24/7 title is suspended during this interview. Do you realize how fucking dumb this is? And on SmackDown, they told us the 24/7 rule is suspended if the champion is having a match.
Yeah.
This is not 24/7.
Well, that's different. But, okay, so it's suspended. So what happens if he gets pinned in the match? His title's not up.
No. But then it's up immediately afterwards. So if you pin him in the match and then pin him again, then you're the champion.
Yes, in fact. Except, here's the key, okay? That the guys who are good enough to pin him don't want that championship to begin with.
Yes.
It's only the guys who aren't good enough to pin him that want the championship.
Yes.
So if he's in there with, like a top guy, like Drew McIntyre, okay? Drew McIntyre can beat him, and then he could just, like, hit him with a Claymore kick and beat him again, except it's established he doesn't want that belt anyway.
You know what's even worse than none of the top guys wanting the belt? Not only are all of the guys that want the belt, like, just complete geeks, but they're also absolute morons. Because everybody who wins the title has the same story. It has made my life a living hell. I can't go anywhere. It ruined Drake Maverick's fucking wedding. His wife left him. Truth can't go anywhere without being attacked by crazy people.
Poor guy.
I mean, it's never been explained why anybody would even want this stupid title. They want it because they're stupid. That's the storyline.
Man, he changed the championship. Actually, I like that. I thought that was, like, really clever stuff. Some of the stuff I'm like, when they do the stuff, like, away, like on the golf course and everything, I find it really entertaining. When they do the stuff in, like, during the show, like they did tonight, like where they had, like, what is it, like, how many different title changes do we have? 3 or 4?
5.
5? Oh yeah, because he had to win it back each time. Yeah. So we had EC3 and Cedric Alexander and Heath Slater all win the championship, and he ended up winning it back from, all of them, I guess, right? So, where he got it back. He was champion at the end of the night. But it's like that it's just like that didn't do nothing. And plus it's like it's Heath Slater, and it's, who's been, like, doesn't even get on television. And I thought, like, when they had Heath Slater in there with Mojo Rawley, I thought at least Mojo Rawley just signed, right? So maybe he could get it to at least beat Heath Slater before they did all the nonsense. No, not at all. Whatever.
So Carmella comes out, and then Drake Maverick comes out, and he says, winning the belt was the biggest moment of my career. Wedding was supposed to be the biggest moment of my life. Truth ruined it. My wife won't talk to me. She won't go on the honeymoon. She will not consummate the marriage. We have constipation jokes. Vince was probably howling with laughter backstage.
Oh, did you? So when he did that joke, the constipation joke, didn't, like, Carmella laugh and, like, nobody else in the whole world laughed?
Yes.
It's like, oh, it was so brutal because it's like nobody in the crowd's laughing and she has to laugh. Oh, God. Anyway.
Drake wants his rematch. Carmella says he wants his wife back. He says, I don't care about my wife. I want this belt.
I actually thought that was pretty funny.
So if Truth accepts the challenge, all the other wrestlers are banned from ringside. Go to commercial, come back. Truth hits one move, wins. Everybody
like
runs down.
Seconds.
Yeah, no wrestling during the break. So we'll come back and do 5 seconds. All the geeks run down to steal the title. They run off. Drake is in tears. Charlie wants to know where he's going to go from here. He cries. He leaves. And that was a segment.
Where is he going?
I don't know. He's back to the drawing board is where he's going. We have Baron and Lacey meeting. They agree they're both going to become champions. He says, who knows? Maybe we'll be the new power couple of WWE. She swoons and wipes her brow. Shane and Drew versus Roman.
There's your answer on Vince McMahon and Baron Corbin right there.
I guess so.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the reason that they push certain guys, and Baron Corbin is the example, is because Vince believes that women like these guys. So therefore, they're going to draw in a top position because women like these guys. So, like, if it's one of the guys that Vince doesn't think women like, he would never have Lacey Evans, who's a hot girl, swoon over. But with Baron Corbin, he did that. And it's like, because I mean, that when they first did the thing with Baron Corbin, like I think he was still in developmental when I first heard that, they were really behind him. And I was just like, God, they got 30 guys just as good as him. I mean, I just remember the one thing was he was the guy that Austin Aries, who's great, couldn't have a good match with. So I thought, well, I bring him up to the main roster because you don't got more than 1 or 2 Austin Aries caliber guys on your entire main roster. And if he can't have a good match with this guy, I mean, who can? Now he's much better now than he was then, but still, it's not like, look, Seth Rollins, the best in the world. Seth Rollins has had an average and a completely shitty match with him in his last 2 matches.
So we have Shane and Drew versus Roman Reigns. They come down to the ring for the handicap match, and then they announce to us it's a handicap match.
Well, it's a tornado match now.
What was it before? One of them would have to stand on the apron and get a tag?
Yeah. Usual handicap match is one, you have to tag in and out, and this was a tornado match, which they never really explained, but that's what it was, yeah.
All right, so they beat on this guy 2-on-1 forever. He's got no friends. Seth is busy with his girlfriend in the back or something. They hit him with moves, and finally Shane goes up top for the coast-to-coast, and the Undertaker's dong hits. Everybody goes crazy. Lights go out, come back on, he's in the ring, catches Shane in midair, hits the choke slam, lays out Drew, clotheslines him outside. Fans are going absolutely crazy. And he looked to be in pretty good shape, and they later announced Roman Reigns and the Undertaker against Drew and Shane.
He looked really old to me.
He is old.
And I mean, he's coming off of like when was the last time he actually had a good match?
Well, he was having a good match until Goldberg knocked himself out.
For 4 minutes,
yeah.
Or 3 minutes.
He's not going to do that much in a tag match. He's going to stand on the apron the whole time while Roman gets beaten on.
That's true. Yeah, it feels. Yeah, I guess but it feels very desperate. And I think it's like a reaction.
Absolutely is.
I mean, I mean, it's obviously a reaction to
for Extreme Rules. They're bringing back the Undertaker. I mean, how could you not see that as desperation? That's what it is.
Yeah, and for TV too. I think that's the idea. I think that's for the
Everett.
Well, it's not so much Everett, but I think it's, look, one of the things is, I mean, Vince is still, he still knows the basics. Sometimes he forgets them, but he does know them. And he's not a bullshit guy, even if sometimes he says bullshit stuff. Because, I mean, like I've known for forever, all that stuff that I talk about with the Paul Bosch stuff. I mean, Vince has said the exact same thing, just different analogies of the exact same story. And I mean, I've seen agent reports and things like that where the agents will go like, well, we didn't draw because there's the fair in town. You know what I mean? And Vince will just go, that's bullshit. I don't even want you to write this ever again. Because it's like Vince, it's just like, if we have the attraction, people will come. And if we don't, they won't come. And it's not about, there's a big movie open. I mean, if there's a big movie open, it doesn't help any. But what was the big movie that opened? Because given that I went to it, Toy Story 4, right? So Toy Story 4 opened Friday and Saturday. That is not why, the pay-per-view didn't draw, and that's not why Spokane didn't draw on which did a Bad House on Saturday night, and it's not why nobody came to Everett tonight. But people will use that, but it's a complete bullshit excuse.
All right, so then we had the clips of Lashley trying to pull a telephone pole out of the ground. This led to a tug of war with Lashley and Strowman. Lashley almost wins, and then Strowman yanks him. Lashley flies over the line, rushes Strowman, beats him up, posts him, and he grabs the rope, and he can't choke him. So he chokes his eyeballs.
He was gouging his eyes with the rope so he couldn't see.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't choke a guy, but you can gouge his eyes out with a rope. That's okay. That's PG. And then I swear to God this happened, everybody. They go backstage. It is Charlie Caruso and AJ Styles.
This happened.
Charlie goes, AJ, you're back tonight. How are you feeling? And he goes, well, Charlie, I'm feeling pretty good. And she stops him and she goes, AJ, look. I'd love to hear more about your recovery, maybe a little bit later. But right now, I'm curious, why challenge Ricochet, the new U.S. champion, on your first day back?
What
was that? Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Somebody messed something up and they just decided it was funny and they didn't retape it. They're like, what was that?
I don't have a clue. But
she asked him a question. He was answering the question that she asked him, and she cut him off like he was saying something stupid.
Yeah, I know. It was like Gene Okerlund with somebody who couldn't do a promo.
So then he starts to answer the next question, and then No Way Jose's music hits, and he's distracted. And he looks over, and there's Gallows and Anderson. And he chastises them for joking around. They say they're going to go prove him wrong, that they're still the old Gallows and Anderson from Japan. Like, I don't know what this was. I mean...
Well, it was to set up the spot for later in the show where...
Well, I know that. I'm talking about the Charlie thing. Like, is he going to turn heel? Like, are they setting up, like, him snapping over something and turning heel? That was fucking so bizarre.
Okay, so who's he working with? Oh, he's working with Ricochet for the U.S. title. So, yeah, maybe he's going to turn heel.
It's just the weirdest thing. Viking Raiders, Gallows and Anderson. Viking Raiders beat him quickly. AJ's all frustrated. They're all frustrated. So now is 2 weeks in a row they've done this storyline. So I think they actually are, for this week, going somewhere with this.
Oh, I think so, too.
I was skeptical last week.
No, I think
but it's now been 2 weeks. So I think something's happening. We had Nikki apologizing to Alexa backstage. It's all her fault. Alexa says, you can use that for motivation. Nikki says, well, there's got to be a way to get your rematch. So that was it. They're standing next to each other, side by side, facing the camera, but turning their heads to look at each other. It was so hokey. Then we have more hokiness. Natty and Naomi are trying an intervention with Nikki, telling her Alexa's not a good person. They've been here for a long time. She's new. She doesn't get it. And Alexa shows up. They all get into an argument, and this leads to a match later. These were bad segments.
Two matches later.
Yes. Heath Slater and Mojo Rawley are going to wrestle when Truth runs through the crowd, chased by everybody. Mojo goes after him, gets low bridged. Heath hits Truth from behind with a neckbreaker, wins the title. Tries to flee, ends up in the ring. Truth hits his finish, wins the title. Cedric hits the ring, lumbar check, wins the title. Tries to flee, EC3 grabs him, hits his move, wins the title. Carmella grabs the belt, distracts EC3, Truth rolls him up, pins him, wins the title, and they're out of there. Leading to a stunning third-hour rating, I'm sure, tomorrow. We'll find out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, I don't know. It may not be good. Yeah.
Ricochet's interviewed, asked what it means to win his first title in WWE. He starts to answer, and shockingly, he was not interrupted to ask a totally different question. That was good. And he says, I don't want this feeling to ever go away. All my friends, family, the universe got me here. Now I must face someone I've always looked up to, AJ Styles.
The whole universe? How about any, like, specific galaxies?
No, Dave, the whole universe. Otherwise, he would have specified a specific galaxy. So the entire universe helped him to become the champion of the United States.
The universe helped him become champion of the United States?
Yes, that's what happened.
So all those people and all those stars, like 700 million...
All about
away.
the United States title. Yes, that's what happened.
Well, it's way better than New Japan.
I'll say.
New Japan's got a U.S. champion that can't even wrestle in the United States.
Yeah?
So this is much better.
Charlie interviewed Kofi, and she doesn't have a chance to cut him off because Sammy's music cuts him off. And they bury Charlie for asking stupid questions, which was apropos on the show. And they ask him some questions, and they want a match. So we get Kofi versus Sammy, and Zayn took literally 95% of this match, and then Kofi did a sunset flip and pinned him. So Kevin grabs the mic, says, I don't believe for a second that you're as great a champion as you think you are. Get in this ring right now. Let's do this. So we have Kofi versus Kevin Owens. Kevin destroys him all over the place, throws him outside. Kofi backdrops his way out of a powerbomb, SOS on the steel, jumps into the ring, wins via countout. This went like 2 minutes, maybe.
Even less.
Yeah.
But what's so weird is like nobody even knew there was a count. The bell just rang out of nowhere, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
They did a count-out finish.
Yeah. So as Kofi is leaving, Samoa Joe runs out, runs him over, smashes him into the set, gives him a Uranage on the ramp, looks brutal. They go to take him backstage, and Joe comes back out, puts him in the choke, leaves him for dead. So I guess that's your new program, Samoa Joe and Kofi.
So I guess that...
Great.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot better. It's Owens is out of the picture. He was supposed to be in it. And Ziggler, we saw no sign of Dolph Ziggler at all.
Nope.
Yep.
He appears to have vanished again, but he could be there tomorrow. We'll find out.
Yeah. But he's not going to be wrestling Kofi. Kofi's program's got to be with Joe.
I would hope so.
Yeah. No, it's got to be.
Naomi versus Alexa. It's got to be in WWE these days.
This was pretty strong.
It should be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vince can change his. Vince can always change them. I
How
don't
many
think
teams have beaten the Iconics and none of them have got a championship match?
Yeah, but they haven't choked him out and beat him up and left him like this. I mean, they just beat him in matches that are just forgotten. And also, it's the Iconics.
So it's Naomi versus Alexa. They go like a minute. Naomi tries a baseball slide, takes out Nikki. She gets in the ring. Alexa DDTs her and wins. Alexa's beating on her afterwards. Nikki hits the ring. Alexa holds Naomi and says, "Hit her!" And Nikki just shoves her, and then she's appalled. And Natty hits the ring, and Nikki and Alexa bail. But then they come back for commercial, and we got a match, everybody. It is Nikki and Alexa versus Natty and Naomi. The baby faces get the heat on Alexa to set up the hot tag to Nikki. Nikki does her hot tag and hits a neck breaker on Natty. And then Alexa, who had got the blind tag, pins her. And Nikki is upset, but then she realizes her friend is happy, so now she's happy.
Mm-hmm. So the idea is that we all know that Alexa's using Nikki.
Everyone knows except the babyface Nikki.
Everyone knows.
Because she's an idiot.
Except for Nikki, yes. So she's in the Bailey role, the naive girl. And those poor baby faces, boy, they had a bad night in this one.
I'll say. So finally, AJ Ricochet, as noted, they got 20 minutes left. And then as soon as the match starts, Gallows and Anderson come out and interfere. So AJ goes outside
and They didn't even interfere. They just showed up.
Yeah. Well, they tried to interfere at one point. There was one attempted interference. So AJ rolls outside and says, "I can beat this dude by myself. You guys got to get out of here." This match will not continue until they leave. So they go to commercial. They come back. Now we have 11 minutes. And they restart the match. And exactly like last week, when this match first started, when they had 20 minutes left, these fans were super into this match. They're doing the dueling chants. They're into it. They do all this rigmarole, go to commercial and come back, and they've got 25% of the heat that they had when they first started. Yep. But thankfully, we had no wrestling during the commercial break. I guess that's the improvement.
Yeah, it was a good match, though.
Had a pretty good match, and they traded near falls, and Ricochet hit a K-Brada, and then went for the 450. AJ avoided it, phenomenal forearm, and he pinned him.
Yep.
The announcers alert us it was not a title match. Michael Cole says this might put him in contention for the U.S. title.
So and I guess that's the new program. It's not bad.
AJ raises his hand. Ricochet smiling ear to ear. Not the least bit concerned that he just got pinned. And that's how the show ends.
So we got AJ Ricochet.
That's an improvement.
Kofi Kingston and Joe, which should be good.
That's an improvement.
Yeah. The main event, which is
not an improvement.
No. Probably something with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley again, who God only knows what the stipulation will be. And probably
God,
Usos,
maybe it'll be a strap match.
Probably Usos revival, probably. Maybe Xavier and Big E against Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Maybe. Who else? I mean, that's Finn Balor's match will probably get figured out tomorrow. They'll probably get a couple more. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Probably maybe something more with Bailey and Alexa. Maybe they sure made Alexa look strong.